New Orleans is a city like no other, a place where culture and creativity and community come together in ways that inspire the world. From the vibrant murals of the young artist movement to the soulful melodies nurtured at the Ellis Marcellus Center for Music and the rich legacy of excellence at St. Augustine High School, this city is alive with stories that deserve to be told. Welcome to Lagniappe Stories, a podcast and video series that goes beyond the headlines to shine a light on the people and organizations making a difference in the Crescent City.
We are Young Artist Movement. This is Guardians of the Garden.
Okay, beautiful. I'm Gabrielle Tolliver. I'm 26 years old, a New Orleans native. I'm an artist, art administrator, all the things. I started off as a dancer. So I guess being an artist was always a thing, just it flowed into a different way. And then I came to Xavier and cultivated visually. Yeah, I don't know. The city is vibrant and I feel like I like to express in a similar way.
Hi, y'all. I'm Nia Jackson. I'm 18. I was born and raised in New Orleans. And the way that I started doing art was really spontaneous. I think I started doing art maybe about 8, maybe 7 years ago. I was like 11 or 10, something like that. And I just randomly picked up a pen and paper. And I was like, let me see what I can do, you know? And then progressively, it never fell out. I loved it so much. Same thing, I want to agree with you with the vibrancy of New Orleans. I always, before I even knew of YAM, I've always took a liking to the art around the city. Even the way houses were built and the color palettes of the houses and things like that. So artistic. I love it so much. So that's also where inspiration came from.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because I'd have to say my inspiration comes from the same place. I'm Journey Allen, and I'm a native here in New Orleans. But my mother and her teachings and my life as a young child is at the base of all of my creativity. She would walk us down to the French Quarters, walk us down to the Riverwalk. So we were always surrounded by the beautiful things of the city. And so I consider that to be at the base of my creativity. And while I do paint and I have this vibrant style that people know from my abstract lines, I have personal things that I work on, of course, like any other artist. But my true passion in creating is working with the young people. And art has just been a tool for that work. So you can get a young person to start painting and creating, they get engaged, and you can take their minds and their experiences to the next level through that avenue. So that's really, really one of the reasons why I create.
EM is the Young Artist Movement, as you guys know.
Yes.
It is a workforce development program, and it shifted into a lot of different things. I started with EM in 2017 or 2018. I can never quite place it. As a student, and I was brought on because my mentor, Ariel Scott, was a lead artist. And yeah, I don't know, I was in college doing the things, figuring life out, and joined the program, and I just never stopped. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the community that I was able to build within that. And then I was like, hey, girl, I need a job. I need a job. And I was always taking leadership roles naturally within it. So it flowed organically, which was nice. COVID happened. And so timelines changed.
And get blurred.
And very much so.
Yeah.
So when I graduated college, it was not the time. But yeah, then I came on after as the first full-time employee of EM, and it's been a journey. It's been beautiful. No pun intended. It's been an interesting journey to experience what it's like to really follow through a program like that. And yeah, now I'm the director of youth programs and partnerships and doing the things.
It's interesting because you say you started, you can't point the year, but I know it was 2017 because my son was in YAM with you. And this is such a full circle moment for so many reasons. I was a parent. My son was in this art program that he somehow got into. I didn't sign him up. And so this lady, Sarah, kept texting my phone for my son. I'm like, who does this lady keep texting for my son? What is going on? And so she was like, we have the art program. And so I went to the unveiling, and in going to the unveiling, they discovered that I was an arts educator slash artist and invited me on as a lead artist for projects moving forward in the future. And then there was a need to develop programming in the Juvenile Justice Intervention Center, and I had that background and skill set. And I came on as the first person to spearhead programming at the Juvenile Justice Intervention Center, which is really a true passion place for the work that I do, because it's like, you have the kid in the classroom that people overlook. You have the kids who are like really amazing. Everyone sees them. The ones that are really quiet, you can point them out. Then you have the middle child, and then that child who is like creating a disturbance. So they want to pull them out. So it's like they don't get seen, right? And so that child who creates that disturbance, or that middle child, often are the ones who get into activities that aren't as engaging as they should be, so they're out, and then they find themselves in the criminal justice system. And being at the space, I hear people, because they call me Miss Journey at the facility, but if I hear Miss Allen, I'm like, oh my God, why is one of my students in this space? Is like this happy sadness of, oh, I know them from teaching them in community, but also why are they here? So like being a part of YAM, like coming from being a parent, then being an artist, and then being the first person to get into the Juvenile Justice Intervention Center, and then becoming a director of education, and then to look back at this project, which embodies so much of all of those topics, right? And then if, I don't know, on the wall here, we're painting an image of my son who's a part of the mural design. So everything is coming full circle. So that's my intro to YAM.
Yes. Well, my intro to YAM seems like something out of a movie. I feel like. Let me give you a quick story time. So Miss Journey, when I was my freshman year of high school, I was fresh out of middle school or whatever, and I was just in a art class. Yes, I was in your art class specifically. And this was actually the first like actual art class I took in school, which is crazy. But I remember this so vividly. I think we were doing some type of activity in the classroom, and I got finished with it early, and I pulled out my sketchbook and I just started drawing, right? And I think you came over, and you looked over and you saw, you were like, piqued my interest. And then you were like, let me pull you to the side after class. And then after that, we had this talk, and long story short, you sent me the invitation to start signing up for YAM. And at that point, it was my first project, and I actually fell in love with it. I know I didn't finish it the first time.
But we never remember that.
We don't.
No judgment.
Yes. But that doesn't matter regardless. I came back. I love being with YAM. I love the people at YAM. I love the concept. I also love the people that we met. It was never the same like speakers. It was more so the same students. But we will always have different speakers, and those different speakers also inspire me to do better or just keep doing art. So that is my starting story.
Beautiful story time. Thank you.
So, well, we currently have about 19 students, 3 lead artists, myself, Gabby, and Jade, and we have 2 artist assistants, Lamaj and Javon, who help us carry out the bigger load and all of the background work for the process and the project. And this is week maybe 9 of the project.
Time is not real.
This most likely is not week
flew by
9.
so
See, I
fast.
told probably about week 10 or 11 or something like that. But the concept came along because we were thinking about all of the ways that the criminal justice system have impacted our lives and also the lives of our young people. And I was on this thing of like the concept of like, what is a seed and how does it grow and how does it bloom? What comes from that? And so we got on the topic of gardens, and we discovered that Gabby's dad was an amazing gardener, and that we loved the topic of the garden. And we just began to develop a concept around the garden of our people, the garden of Black males. Like, what do we sow into them? What do we get out of it? And develop this narrative of men who were doing positive things. Even the concept of safe poses. Everyone's engaging. We have a father and a son. We have a son looking towards the facility once the mural is placed towards the facility in compassion. We have a female presence, Ms. Danielle Metz, because she was impacted by the criminal justice system deeply, doing a near life sentence in prison. So like, we learned about her story. We interviewed one another. It was all these things that unfolded through Apple's challenge-based learning that we followed and created curriculum around. So we have all of these things going on, but we're also engaging our young people from the Juvenile Justice Intervention Center. So we had interviews with them to ask them, what is the fruit of their seed? How do they want people to depict them? And they shared their concept of being a young Black male walking up the street, walking through life, and also what people think of them when they're in the criminal justice system. And we allowed our young people in YAM Studio who are in community to listen to these interviews. And as a part of that, pictures were taken of the students' hands. In those same hands that we captured, the Young Artists and the Young Artist Movement studio session took and made digital images of this work and incorporated into the mural to tell the story of their experience, along with the experience of Mr. Montgomery, who was impacted by the criminal justice system and brought his case to the highest level of court, so that young people who are lifers, juvenile lifers, can now appeal to have parole. Like, that wasn't available before him. So it's like all of these things intertwine in this mural, and you really have to like dig in deep, listen to the interviews that are available, read up to get the gist of it. But it's just a beautiful story unfolding of this gardener who's moving through the garden, who is represented by Gabby's dad, who's like just sowing the seed, and all of these fruits are coming up, and in the end you have this harvest. So it's a very broad concept, but brings so much meaning to the experiences of our young artists and our lead artists.
No, it hasn't really been like an overflowing workload, at least on me, just because I love painting, and I don't feel like painting isn't like a thing like, oh my God, I have to do it, like I have to paint. This is such a weight on my shoulder right now. No, so it's really been actually really exciting because it's been so stressful. Do you see how like it bounces off?
It gives you that
Yes.
energy. Like,
Yes.
I don't know.
It gives me the drive.
Yeah.
Working
like-
under pressure.
Yes, working under pressure, but also working under pressure while doing something that you love.
Right.
So, and also with meeting the new lead artist, I never met Jade before, so it was also great to see the different art styles and learn different concepts. So it's been a great learning experience as well.
I want to nudge you because we see paintings and things behind us, but this didn't start that way. We were on iPads for quite some time.
Yes.
Digitally designing all of this, and that's definitely something that you're really good at.
I am.
You are.
I do mostly digital art at the moment. It switches up most of the time, but I've been doing digital art for a little bit now.
I guess, like, what was that process like? What are we painting on?
Oh my God, what are we painting on?
Mural cloth.
Yeah, mural cloth. I was gonna say canvas cloth. I'm sorry. But yes, to my knowledge, paint on a mural cloth, and then put it on the wall you wanna put it on, and then it's more like a. I want to relate it to copy and paste. It's more like a kind of copy and paste type of thing.
What's the thing you say about it? It's
Oh
like
my
what?
goodness. So this is the PG version. We basically essentially made coloring sheets with the designs that we created digitally. But mural cloth or polytab cloth is like if wallpaper and canvas had a baby. and you adhere it with a gel medium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're working on their baby.
Yes.
I haven't personally had anything happen with incarceration or policing justice system, but I do have family members that have been incarcerated. My uncle, he's actually about to get out soon, January 10th, in a couple of days.
Literally.
But yeah, he's been locked up for a very long time, and I feel like that kind of hindered our relationship. You know, like most, I don't really know my uncle too well.
Mhm.
I mean, I love him,
Mhm.
but I never really spent that much time with him. I don't really know the type of things that he likes, you know, and it's kind of a weird feeling whenever you're around your family members that have been incarcerated, because it's like, okay, I know you're related to me, but like, you know, so whenever I am around him, it's kind of like a tense feeling, or like a drawback. It's kind of like, okay, what's missing here? Why is this wall in front of me right now, you know? But I think the advice that I would give to young people dealing with incarceration is don't even get to that point. Just, I don't know, try your hardest not to get to that point. I know some things may be out of their control, but I don't know. It's also education. You might want to educate yourself on like the justice system and like laws, you know, just so you won't get yourself in trouble.
So when I consider my experience with the incarceration system in alignment with this project, there are so many things to be said. I do have family who have been incarcerated, family who are incarcerated, but the thing that sticks out as it relates to the project is it's these images that will go up in the questions it will allow people to consider and ask, right? But the one thing that stays with me is who are the people behind the wall? Who are the people who are in jail or in prison? You have one concept, one thought of who they are, and they kind of box them into this space. But this project says who they are not, or who the families who are waiting on them, the ones who are anticipating their arrival or their return to community, who they see them as. This isn't a project that says, oh, my son is tough, you know, my uncle is hard and he did all his time. It says, you know what? Before my uncle went in, before my son went in, we had a very caring relationship, and I have compassion for my son. So I see him as my baby. I don't see him as this hard dude who went to prison. And these images are a reflection of that. My uncle or my brother, when he went in, he was a loving father. And you'll see those images displayed right before, you know, the prison walls. And there's no greater impact than that if someone can get to the space to asking, what are these images about? And then when they look at the juxtaposition of the design to the space that it is in front of, which is the jail, they say, hey, wait, I have people in there. I love how they're being portrayed on this project. And I'm constantly working with the youth in the Juvenile Justice Intervention Center. And it's one of my most favorite things to do because I hear the news lines. I sometimes work with kids who have been on the news for things that would deeply impact my life, that would change it forever in a sorrowful way. But to see them in an environment where there are partnerships being made, where there is a YAM to come in and have them paint murals around the facility, and to see the change, the way their eyes light up even more. Because I can see the light in them, but it's kind of covered up because they don't know what to expect. And then they open up. Then they look forward to seeing you, you know? And it's just a wonderful experience to be able to work with them and to have that trust. And this project just embodies all of that, like their hands being incorporated into the project in this place, in these poses of like sweet surrender, like, hey, my hands are open. Hey, my hands are prayerful. Hey, I'm holding fruit. Like, I'm a beautiful person. You can look at my hands and tell that, you know? And like I tell them all the time, I'll say to a child who's incarcerated, I say to an adult who's incarcerated, there's no mistake too great for forgiveness. And that's the words I prefer to leave with them.
Well, I guess this project brings light to the entire purpose of EM, providing a space for our young people to learn a new skill and to build community so that they can bring this into their adult lives and not have to potentially face repercussions in the criminal justice system. I mean, maybe I'm a little biased. I mean, EM has literally shifted my life. So I think that's, I think I am going to speak selfishly from that point of view. I grew up hearing like, you're going to be a starving artist. Do you want to starve or do you want to be an artist? And I'm like, I don't have to do that. I choose to not do that. And there are definitely alleyways where I don't have to do that. And so I don't know, I think supporting a program like this allows other people to feel that same way, to know that you don't have to make your hobby just your hobby. You can pursue that as a passion and a career. And it gives like a different, you don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a lawyer. You can do whatever you want to do. And
Passion.
you can really do your passion. And yeah, I don't know.
You know, I'm with that because we didn't speak about like the stipends that kids get, right? So kids get stipends. Like this project, we're not just in here having them working. They get a stipend for participation to support them in being able to be present. Even in JJIC, which is the Juvenile Justice Intervention Center, those young people are able to get stipends as well. But when I think about the project and why people should engage with it, it's an opportunity to like really release the trauma that we've encountered by engaging with the criminal justice system. There can be this vulnerability, this transparency that can come forth when they begin to see the design and allow it to open them up once again with those questions of the why or the how, or how have I been impacted, and move this question and these things throughout community and connect with people on the level to speak more about these traumatic experiences that we have. And to say traumatic, you don't have to go into the prison system and get beat up for it to be traumatic. The person who is both going to prison and the person who is at home waiting for them, it's a traumatic experience. I recall hearing someone has gone to prison. They're like, sometimes like, what does that mean? Why are they there? Then it's like, when are they coming home? It's like, what did they do? Like, did they really do that? And it begins to shape how you see them. It also allows you to like redevelop how you see them and begin to hold compassion for them in a different way. So it's just like, yes, they should support this project and like, yay, go kids, go everyone, but also use it as a tool for healing. And that's what YAM is. Like you say, it changed your life. You agreed, it changed your life. You know, we also do art therapy with the young people in the in the Juvenile Justice Intervention Center. They are able to talk through their issues. Sometimes I wish it was more we could do, but it is a source of healing. It is an outlet, and that's what creativity does. Whatever we're not getting in our school system, art is always an outlet to bring forth the best in our young people. And I really think that YAM achieves that.
Yes. Yes, I agree with all of this. And I will tell you guys this from the student perspective. YAM has done all these wonderful things, and I think it all ties down into giving the students reassurance about art. Some kids, we have like intermediate artists, and then we also have some beginners, right? But I feel like everyone at least needs that little touch of reassurance, like, you're doing great, your art is wonderful, this looks beautiful, you're doing a great job.
Yes.
YAM does a good job of doing that.
That's excellent. And I don't know, what is expected in this exact moment as I continue to, but I'll say like, I can agree with what you're saying, because whether someone is going to become an artist or not, to say, I see something great in you, you're doing something awesome, it's encouragement in some way that they may not get at home. And I was told by a professor, he said to me when I tried to show him the art I made for like my little church, and he said, what are you, 21, 22 years old? Yeah, at this age, you're pretty unteachable. You could never learn to paint well enough to become a professional artist. And this is me trying to get into art. And so when I start working with kids as an artist, it was my goal to be like, hey man, that's awesome. You know, and I must toot the horn of Lamont Mathis. That's my art son, but he's also the assistant, one of the assistants on this project. And I tell him all day, boy, you couldn't paint a wall to save your life. That paint will be dripping. He said, "Hi, look." And I said, "Ooh, yeah." I said, "That's good." And I think, my God, this boy gonna work me to death. I got to finish this, you know, whatever we're doing. But look at him now, not because of me, but because I know he felt the encouragement and he found it within himself to keep going, to say, I'm going to be a global artist. This is his work. He said, I'm going to be a global artist. And to this day, he's like at 40 something, the 40th something mural, and he's 19 years old. Like, that's the power of art. And YAM is the first official art program that he entered into. So I think that speaks volumes to what we provide young people.
Very much. Yes.
Lagniappe means a little something extra. And that's exactly what we aim to bring you. Insightful conversations, untold histories, and a deeper look at the passion and perseverance driving New Orleans forward. Join us as we celebrate the artists and educators, activists, and visionaries who shape the soul of our city, one story at a time. This is Lagniappe Stories.